if you're starting off in real estate and you're not working today, think of it as somebody that works 9 to 5 taking 2 weeks off. That's exactly the same equivalent, because if you don't work today, you don't have that, what's it called, like production for the future. And that's what you really need. You need a prospect now because the money's in the follow-up. And a lot of people don't understand that. Sometimes you might get those calls where, oh yeah, I want to sell today, and you lock it up and you make great money. But the real money is like you following up on that lead. And those leads that you see, most of them took months to close and months to follow up and get into contract, and then months after that to actually handle business and fulfill it to the finish line. So that's one of the things we messed up on.
Welcome back to the Pursuit of Property podcast. Today we are sitting here with our friend Angel Bogarin. We met Angel a few years ago. He's been on the list of people we wanted to have on the pod, and time finally came around where it made sense, and we're happy to have you here, man.
Yes, thank you guys for actually inviting me this time. I was like, yes, no.
Wow.
Come on, dude.
Wow. I said casual conversation before the pod, and he said it's a roast session.
Can we get that little
He's
thing
coming
that
out
goes,
swinging.
That goes click.
Dude, Angel, tell us about what you do right now in real estate to give some context on who you are.
Yes. Okay, so right now I'm an acquisitions manager. I work with Home Helpers Group, who's the company with Dean Rogers and Louis Mota. They're actually two really big people that I look up to, and they're doing really big things in real estate right now. So hopefully one day, I can follow in their footsteps. But sellers is basically my game. I talk to them on the daily, acquisitions, handling objections, meeting them in person, running property values, stuff like that. So it gets really intense sometimes, but I love it. It's an amazing journey.
Yeah. What do you mean it gets intense sometimes?
Oh my goodness. So face-to-face conversations, and sometimes when we have a set agreement and we get there and the agreement's different, or we have a set agreement with the tenant possibly and that changes, numbers change, or sometimes, numbers are a little too high and you can't sell a deal. So you kind of have to figure out. Real estate, I'll tell everybody right now, is curveballs all day. I mean, you get those fast pitch swings and you hit a home run eventually or occasionally. But my goodness, if you don't know how to work the curve, you're going to get struck out all the time. So you got to be prepared. You have to be on your toes. And you kind of have to know what you're doing, because if you're just speaking and just running around in circles, eventually someone's going to catch on that you don't know what you're doing. So that right there is the game changer. Handling objections, talking to sellers, and just figuring out what is it that they really need. A lot of people will think everyone just wants money, but it's not the case. Some people just want to handle something that they don't want to handle anymore. There's more problems that comes to it on this side. Sometimes people are in a situation that they need actual help. The money's not really the issue that they're thinking about. They want to know, okay, how can I get out of this situation? How can my family be better in the future? We don't want a bankruptcy. We don't want to file for anything. We don't want all this stuff happening. And then there's also divorces, probates, all these things that come into play that, the average person doesn't really understand when it's happening. So we have to figure all that out.
Well, dude, I want to rewind a little bit, because you said sellers are able to tell when you're kind of going around in circles and not knowing what you're doing. All of us in this room started like that. Obviously, the point you're at now is significantly different than that starting point for you, right? What have the past few years, or even, I don't even know how long you've been in real estate, but how did you go from that guy who all of us started with at some point, running around in circles, trying to fake it till we make it, trying to learn, to how you are now?
Yes. So let me give a little bit of a backstory so you can kind of understand who I am. My name's Angel. I didn't really come from a family that was educated in real estate. Barely even came from a family that graduated college, so I kind of had to figure it out on my own on what is it that I was going to do or become. And when you're out of high school in your mid-20s, growing through that pain, you really don't know what you want to do. So when people say like you got to have your life together, you got to graduate college, get married, have babies, buy a house, whatever, there's a step to that. I just feel like you're kind of figuring it out on the way. You know, there's no playbook, there's no perfect nothing. You just kind of have to go with it. So right out of high school, I ended up having a baby, you know, so it was like, you know, sink or swim kind of deal. So boom, we started swimming. Went to college, failed, and then had jobs, failed a lot of them. I think I had 9 jobs in 1 year.
Wow.
Yeah. So you can just imagine, you know, and it wasn't more so that like I was a horrible worker. It was just more so that like I wanted more, you know. I'd work, I think my first job was like $8.75 an hour, you know, and that I say that today and people are like, what? Like, heck no, you know, but times were different back in the day, you know. And then I progressed and then kind of got stuck a little bit, didn't really know what was going on. And then the whole COVID situation happened, right? So everyone's stuck at home, and I'm over here playing video games at the time. And a really good friend of mine, my best friend actually, he goes, hey, have you ever heard of wholesaling before? And I was like, wholesaling? Like boxes? Like big boxes that you buy together? And he goes, no, like actual wholesale. Like I guess these people, what they do is they'll go to a homeowner, ask them if they can buy their house as is, and then they'll sell it to somebody that wants to buy it to fix it up. And you make that money in the middle. And I was like, okay, so like I'll go to a homeowner, their house is worth what? You said 200,000, and I try to convince them that it's worth 100,000, and then I sell it to somebody for 125,000. That sounds stupid. I was like, who would do that? You know? And I was like, no, that sounds like a scam, you know, or something like that. And then I started seeing it on social media. It's so weird how that works. You talk about it and boom, all these ads pop up.
Yeah.
But I started seeing it on social media, especially on TikTok a lot. And I was like, okay, I see people doing it. So this must be some kind of business, you know? So I was like, okay. At that time, I was a solar rep. I was knocking on doors. So I was kind of like already going in it. Keep in mind, I have no sales experience. You know, I'm just going with the flow. I have a script in my hand, and I'm just reading the script as best as I can. Dang, ram in there. But so I was like, okay, you know, we'll give this a shot, see what's going on.
Yeah.
And I looked it up, kind of read about it, learned about it. Alex Sainz, I believe is his name. He's from Arizona. He has an amazing YouTube channel. It's a 30 video playlist.
Try to real quick. Try to stay a little closer to the mic so that we can hear you just a little better.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. You're totally good.
So it's Alex Sainz. He has a 30 video playlist. It literally teaches you from the beginning to the end on how to wholesale. So like how to find a seller, how to run numbers, how to get ARVs, how to kind of calculate exactly what it is you need to do, and how to talk to sellers, you know? And I was like, okay, you know, so I started studying. Took me a couple of months. And when I mean months, it took me quite a while to learn actually the game. And then I was like, you know what, I'm ready to go all in. You know, I want to buy a list. I want to get like a dialer or something and start talking to these sellers. I want to test what I have. The first month, I didn't really take action. And then one night I was up at 1 a.m. I'm not kidding you. It's 1 a.m. I have the messages still. And I was on Facebook Marketplace, just searching for a house. And then I seen somebody put a house up and they were like, hey, for sale, as is, needs repairs, blah, 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 the whole 9 yards, you know? So I was like, this is perfect. Like, this is exactly what I'm looking for. So I go, I can message her now, but it's 1 a.m. So is that going to look weird? But then I'm like, but if I wait, somebody might message her at 7 or at 6 or even 5 a.m. I might lose that lead. So I go, I'll just message her and be polite and see, just let her know that I'm interested. That's all it is, right? So I messaged the lady. I go, hey, my name's Angel. I actually buy homes in your area in this condition, as is, cash value. I was like, whenever you get the chance, give me a call. I'd love to talk to you. 110. Sure, are you interested in the house? I was like, oh my goodness, like this is it. You know, I'm jumping up and down in my chair.
So she responded right away.
She responded right away. So I was like, you know, I call my best friend. I was like, bro, we got a lead. And he was like, what? You know, like kind of like waking up.
Yeah.
And he was like, just kind of like, okay, we'll see what it is, see if it's real, you know? So we had this conversation, started talking numbers. You know, I was like, well, you know, investors in your area are buying this, and that. You know, are you kind of near that price point? You say it needs a lot of work. Long story short, ended up getting under contract. And it was, numbers were like, ARV was like 225. We got it into contract for 125. Only needed like $20,000 worth of work. And then came the hard part. Had to sell the deal.
Facebook Marketplace.
I did not have one person that I could go to. So I'm over here with a contract in my hand, thinking about the money already, going crazy and berserk. And I had no idea who to call. I was like, oh my gosh, what do I do now? So I found somebody and I gave him a ring. And it wasn't a buyer. It was someone that could find a buyer for us. So I was like, okay, cool. You know, like if you can find a buyer for us, then I'm perfectly fine with that. So this is how I met Dean. So he goes to Dean and he goes, hey, can you sell this deal? And in my training with Alex Sains, he talked about this word called daisy chaining. That was a big no-no in real estate. You don't do that. So I finally found another buyer. It was a hedge fund buyer. And they were like, hey, we'll buy it at your price point. I think I was going to make like $6,000 on it. And I was excited.
Of course,
like, I was super excited because I've never made that much money in my life. You know, you only get that on taxes and
tax returns.
Tax returns, exactly. So my whole mindset was different back in the day. And I was like, oh my goodness, like, I don't know. I think I'm just going to go with this person. But then they call me back and they go, hey, are you sure you have this under contract? And I was like, yeah, why? Because we actually see somebody else sending out at a higher price point. So we don't know who has it. Is it you or them? And I was like, what? So I was like furious. I was like, what's his name? You know, what's his number? I'm going to give him a call right now. He said, yeah. We actually bought deals from him before. His name's Dean Rogers. He sounds like a really good guy. Maybe there might be some confusion. So I was like, I was already upset, you know. So I was like, no, I need a number. I need this and that. And keep in mind, I had no idea who Dean was. I didn't know how big he was. I didn't know anything about him. So I give him a ring and I go, hey. And he's like, hey, what's up? I go, did you send out 303 North Roosevelt? And he goes, yeah. You want to buy it? I go, no. Do you have the contract to that deal? And he goes, no, I don't. And I was like, yeah, because I do. And then boom, I just like started like, what do you think, you know, who gave you permission to sell this deal? And blah, blah, blah. I'm getting calls from these buyers saying that you're sending it. And he was like, whoa, hold on. You know, because Dean's not confrontational. He kind of like slows it down, kind of talks it out. What's really going on? So explain to me everything that he did and who he was. And at the end of the conversation, we're just like, oh, okay, you know, I apologize. I was like, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to come at you all crazy. I was just like, hey, man, you're trying to steal my deal, you know? And he goes, well, you know, we're already here. Let's just sell it, you know? So I was like, okay. So he sold it in an hour for double what I was going to do. And I made more money with him splitting it than I would have by myself. So I was like, dang, what am I doing wrong? I was like, am I not finding the right people or what's going on? You know, my number's not right. But little did I know that was going to be my first step into a journey that took me here, you know? So out of all that rambling that I did, I want to say that it's honestly the first step. You know, there is no like a lot of people like to see into the future. But it's just like, you know, if you can't see the future, you can see your next step. So just kind of take that, you know. And now we're here today. And there's a lot more in the middle of that juicy stuff. But that's how I got started into
How many deals did you do last year with Dean?
With Dean, how many deals did I do last year? Actually, I think I have it.
Let's see.
I think I have the record.
Yeah, I was like, I think you showed me it on your phone at lunch.
See.
But you started in COVID.
Yes.
Cade and I both started before then.
Yes.
And we would consider you a peer. So we, you know, I'm just curious because you got to speed very quickly.
Let me pull it up right now. Actually, hold on. It's under my Google Sheets. Because I'm trying to keep record to hit a goal. Okay. So last year alone. Now keep in mind, I was learning. I did. Where is it at? March, June, and then February. So this is May. I did about 34.
Wow.
Yeah, 34 deals.
So you went from being the guy who found a house on Facebook Marketplace at 1 a.m. playing video games
Here, and
to
it's,
doing.
it's all right here, just in case you guys want to see everything. That's my whole.
He's lying. No, I'm just kidding.
That's my whole thing, and then that's not even including everything we have in escrow under contract right now. So those
Yeah.
are only deals that have closed officially.
Yeah.
We don't count deals that we've had under contract
35,
or
of
anything
course.
like that.
Yeah, and you had some open before the end of the year.
Yeah.
So, dude, that's crazy. So talk about that first step, because I feel like a lot of people get stuck there. A lot of the guys that we talk to, they're very much in that over-educate, but they haven't taken action. It sounds like
Yeah.
you did a little bit of that. You paid, or did you pay money for the course, or did you find it for free?
It's all YouTube University, man. Got my diploma on my thing. No, just kidding.
And so how long did it take you to get that first deal from when you first heard about wholesaling? Approximate.
It took me 6 months.
That's fast.
Yeah. Yeah, but people hearing that right now, like 6 months. Keep in mind, there was no pay, nothing. So
Yeah.
I only had about, I want to say maybe like $4,000 in my savings, which was, tax return.
With a kid?
Yeah, I'm being honest, And at the time, I had 2 kids at that time, and my wife wasn't working. She wanted to go back to school to be a stenographer. So I was like, I'm just gonna dive all in this. I see people dive in all the time and they make it. And if I don't make it, then I'll just go get a job at Walmart or something like that. I don't really take I guess as men, we have so much pride. So if we're at this level and stuff hits rock bottom, it's really hurtful to go get a job that a cashier's or something like that. But I was raised in a way that you got to do what you got to do. So as long as you're putting food on the table and the lights are on, just go handle your business. Don't be afraid to take a step back, to go forward. Call that the slingshot action. But so the first step was actually really scary, because I didn't know what was going to happen or what was going to go on or what was actually even going to come out of this. So the education part was all right, I got to go all in. I got to figure it out. And I didn't know who to go to. I couldn't call a Jason or a Dean or anything like that. I couldn't call them. So I went on YouTube and I was like, how does wholesaling work? How do you talk to sellers? How do you find sellers? How do you find buyers? Just stuff like that. So that's why I lucked out with Alex, because he has a playlist, like I was saying, 30 videos breaking down every one. And at the end of the day, I have to say this. There's not a door that hasn't been knocked. There's not a phone that hasn't been rang about a sales opportunity. There's never someone that's going to be, oh, I've never heard of this, ever. There's no perfect list. There's no perfect pitch. There's just hard work and execution. I believe in hard work a lot, but then you have to kind of execute on that, because if you just work and you don't really do anything with it, then like I said, you're running in circles. You're just a dog chasing your tail. But the experience is going to get you what you need. So if you never take that first step, you ain't going anywhere. You're going to stay right there. You're
going to be the smartest guy at the start line.
Yes, exactly. That's it. But you know who's better? The one that's already halfway down, because they're actually taking the action to do it, And then you guys do the Iron Man, right?
Yeah.
So I could just imagine, everyone that thinks about doing that and everyone thinks about that. And maybe they train, maybe they do all this, but they never actually competed. And you guys have. And that's amazing. That's amazing. That just goes to show for what you actually do in the real estate game. So that's pretty cool. I give my hat off to both of you guys.
Thank you, bro.
I couldn't do that.
We appreciate it. I'm curious. Scott and I were having this conversation a couple weeks back, because even COVID 2020, the past couple years, I'm sure you have gone through quite the transition, even just in your real estate journey, right? But after closing that first deal, and I don't know how it went to now officially an acquisitions manager, like you said, with the Home Helpers Group with Dean and all the great people over there. What made you want to be part of a team as opposed to just doubling down and doing stuff on your own?
Yes. Okay. So that's a great question. I actually get asked that a ton. So I was very financial illiterate. Didn't really know how to handle money and stuff. So keep in mind, during that span of time after our first deal, I had a partner in this as well. So after our first deal, we kind of just do it all in marketing. And then we got our second deal. And our second deal, we made about $34,000.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really
Big jump.
big jump. So, went from $8,000 to like $34K. So I was like, whoa, excuse me. I was like, whoa, this is crazy. Like I just scratched the scratcher and I won, the grand prize or something like that. That's kind of how I was thinking back in the day. Cause this is like uncharted waters for me. I have no idea that people are actually making this kind of money, So when you start to do it and it happens, it doesn't feel real. I don't know why. It just doesn't feel real. And then I was like, okay, well, let's keep going and see what else we can do. We closed 2 to 3 more deals after that. And then we landed a big one, like whale deal, I guess you call them, whatever it may be. And that was with Dean. So it was in Carruthers, out of all places, right? In Carruthers. We've been hitting a list for a while, and then all of a sudden this lady texts me back and she says, hey, were you interested in this property? I know you messaged us beforehand and we were actually thinking about selling it. So I was like, oh yeah, of course, boom, another lead. I get to the address, it's a POS, man. I mean, falling apart. The homeless are living in it. There's like a car shop, or what are those called?
Yeah, like an auto body shop or something.
No, not that
like
though.
chop shop.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. There was like 8 or 9 cars, all like doors
Stripped
missing,
out,
stripped out. The seats are gone, the rims, all that other stuff. And I was like, just looking around, I was like, man, like, dude, I thought this was a deal, So I talked to the owners and they're like, well, can you at least give us $40,000 for it? And I was like, I don't even know if it's worth that. It just comes with so many problems. I think that's why you guys are selling it, right? And they're like, yes, we want to get rid of it. We've been contacted by the sheriffs, by the city. They've just been causing a havoc right there in the neighborhood. So I called Dean and I go, man, there's a property out here, bro. I don't know if it's worth our time. Sellers are asking $40,000. Do you want to run ARV on it and see if we want to give it a shot? I'm thinking maybe $100,000, but margin's too slim. So he goes, all right, I'll take a look at it. Calls me back in 5 minutes. How much did you say? I was like, $40,000. Lock it up right now, going crazy. And I was just like, what, really? I said, are you sure? Are we going to do something with this? Yes. So I give the lady a call. I go, hey, you know what? My team wants to take a risk and we're willing to buy that property from you to get it off your hands. And she was more than grateful. She's like, they're going to make some good money off of it because it was no mortgage, no nothing on it. Just a situation. So $40,000 to them was amazing. So I was like, okay, cool. So we start trying to figure out the property. Come to find out, I learned the law a little bit. You can't go in there and just kick people out. Squatters have rights. So you got to go through court. You got to handle the whole 9 yards and get a date. And then sometimes the judge will rule with them. And it was COVID season. So we had that, was it the memorandum or that thing
moratorium
where the moratorium. So you can't evict anybody. They had to have at least like anywhere between 8 to 12 months or something like that to actually relocate. But judges weren't doing that at the time. They were just giving the date, come back, and then extending that date. So investors were very scared around that time. So I was just like, hey, it comes with a bad situation, He's like, it's okay. We have a big margin. So I was like, wait, hold on. What are you selling this for? He's like, just let me do my thing, right? And he wasn't even telling me. Just let me do my thing. I got this, Angel. Oh, okay. So I'm at the gym working out, and he gives me a call. Got it sold. I was like, yeah. How much? $165,000. Oh. And I was like, no, how much?
You're just in shock.
I was like, no, how much, Russ? Like, I'm being serious, $165,000. I was like, wait. And I was doing the math on my phone. I was like, so me and you're going to split $125,000? Because they put up the $40,000 out of their own pocket, so they have to get that back as collateral. So I was like, wait, we're going to make 23 grand off this? Yeah. And we're going to split that, and you're going to take home $60,000, roughly, a little bit more. I'll never forget this. I was in the gym. Oh my God. I ran over to my partner who was at the gym there with me. I was like, bro, we just made $60,000. Oh my God. We're going crazy. Everyone's staring at us in the gym. And I was, we were like kids, just hopping up and down.
Yeah.
having a great time. And, you know, that was a moment I'll never forget. And once I made that and then actually direct deposit, the deal closed and all that other stuff, I knew I could never go back. I could never go back to the real, you know, I guess the normal world or whatever they call it, a 9-to-5 job. I could just never, ever do that again. And there's no bashing on people that work hard, because that is the toughest thing to do. Wake up, go to a job, handle business, come home. That's bravery right there, because you're sacrificing most of your stuff to make sure that whatever you're taking care of is taken care of. So I respect them a lot. But I just knew that it was never for me. So fast forward, make great money. Spent all that money.
Of course.
Blew it. I think we made a total anywhere between 128 to 140 grand in the span of 3 to 4 months. So making money so fast like that when you never did it, kind of don't know what to do with it. And we went to Vegas. So so kind of like, long story short, you know, had a great time, paid for everybody, you know, front row, whatever, VIP, had a good time. And come back, and money started to dry up really quickly. We weren't getting as many leads. We were kind of like, oh, well, we have, you know, 45 grand left in the business account. You know, we could survive off of this for a few months. We don't have to really hit it hard. That's a big mistake. If you're starting off in real estate and you're not working today, think of it as somebody that works 9 to 5 taking 2 weeks off. That's exactly the same equivalent, because if you don't work today, you don't have that, what's it called, like production for the future. And that's what you really need. You need a prospect now, because the money's in the follow-up. And a lot of people don't understand that. Sometimes you might get those calls where, oh yeah, I want to sell today, and you lock it up and you make great money. But the real money is like you following up on that lead. And those leads that you see, most of them took months to close and months to follow up and get into contract, and then months after that to actually handle business and fulfill it to the finish line. So that's one of the things we messed up on. And then all of a sudden, it's 12,000, 10,000, 8,000, 6. And what are we going to do for next month? How am I going to pay my bills? How am I going to make rent? How am I going to do all this stuff? So we got caught in a situation. So I talked to my partner and I go, man, you know what, bro? If you're going to get a job, you know, and we're both going to get jobs, we have to do what we have to do for our families, you know, kind of have to take that step back. So I was kind of just like talking about it. And then Dean, he gave me a call, and then we were kind of messing around. I was like, dang, man, it'd be crazy if I was on your team, huh? You know, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, I'd love to have you on my team. Yeah, have you thought about actually coming on the team? And I was just like, oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, that'd be cool, you know? I was like, but, you know, in my head, I was like, I have a partner. You know, I can't just like let him go like that or anything like that. So I was like, wait, are you being serious? Like you would allow me to come on the team? And he was like, yeah, man, you're a hustler. Like, I love the way you work. So we would love to have you. And he goes, you just got to talk to your partner. So I was like, oh, okay. So we ended up going out to dinner, and I told him straight out, I go, hey, I got offered a job here, bro. I know you've been looking, I've been looking. I'm going to take it. You know, I'm going to take it. And he was just like, nah, I understand. I respect that. You know, I'd do the same thing if I was in your position. So I go, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to sign the entire company over to you. Whatever's left in the account, you can have. I was like, and if you end up being successful, then, you know what I mean? You did that. You did that. And it was like really emotional at that time, you know, because that's like my brother. He's like, nah, man, like, you know, I would never like, you know, be jealous or anything of you. You got to do what you got to do for your family and go do it, you know? So I was like, all right, bro. So we did it. And probably one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life. You know, I learned so much. I was taught so much. And then I had someone that actually believed in me. You know, out of all my jobs, when you get these jobs, you don't really have people that like, you just kind of clock in, clock out and do what you need to do. And as long as you're doing your job, no one's really yelling at you. But he was yelling at me while I was doing my job. And it wasn't because I was doing a bad job. It was because he wanted me to be better. Right. So they spent all this training on me. They sent me out to Ohio to get trained with the team. Like, they actually invested into us. So I can see, like, numbers only show the results, and that paid off. And I'm very, very grateful for Home Helpers Group. And a lot of people do ask me, like, do you ever see yourself leaving? And at this moment, I don't see myself trying to go somewhere and start my own stuff. I do want to build a retirement. I do want to have rentals and stuff like that for my own family, because if I were to die today, you know, the money's good, but it stops right then and there, you know? So then my family has to kind of figure out what they're going to do. So that's why I'm trying to build my own portfolio. But as opposed to like actually going and handling my own business, I'm doing good now. So I don't want to mess that up. Yeah. So that's my story.
Damn.
That's freaking cool, dude. Oh my gosh.
It sounds to me like you've had a lot of ups and downs. Like, how have you handled that?
Oh my goodness. I'd even tell you guys in the beginning, when I didn't have a deal, my wife was like, look, we are not even going to be able to pay next month's rent. You need to go find a job, or me and you're going to have to sit down and talk about our situation. And I was like, what? Like, that serious? She was like, yeah, that serious. Like, you either have to handle your business and do something, or we have to talk about something, because I'm not going to let our family go into shambles. And that was a lot of pressure, because it's like, okay, I think I got to go get a job or do something, or like I'm gonna lose my family. You know what I mean? And it wasn't that she was trying to be bad in a way. She was just trying to motivate me and say, look, you got to handle your business. You can't be doing this, right? Because we've been through way worse than that, and she's always stuck by my side. And we've been through a lot together. I think we've been together for almost 13 years now. Since 2011. So 12 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I got to get that right. Can we go back?
Jonathan, cut that out. Cut that out.
Gosh. No. I'm just kidding. But she has actually been the most rock and everything that I could imagine. Because if it wasn't for her, I honestly wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be here pushing forward. I wouldn't be here doing that stuff, because I wanted to quit so bad during that 6-month period. There was no money coming in, nothing happened, and I just was like, all right, I got to go do this. And she would be like, no, just give it another shot. All right, no, I got to do this, baby. No, just give it another shot. All right. And so if it wasn't for her, I'd never be here. So on my up and down journey, I would say, if you have someone that supports you, whether you think they do or not, hold them very dearly, because they see something in you that you don't see in yourselves. And a lot of the times we don't see stuff in ourselves, because we don't want to believe that we can be better. But I believe that once you become better, it allows others to shine too, because you see that who they were before they were good. So it makes you believe that you can be good too. And then boom, the best happens.
Before we wrap up, what do the next few years look like for you?
The next few years look like, so I don't know if you've seen it, but on my Facebook, I kind of put out my goals. So what I want to do, I have another partner that I'm working with now. And at this moment, we're doing that flip in Kerman. So my next goal is to learn as much as I can, meet as many people that are doing better than me, not the same, way better than me, so I can kind of figure out what they're doing that I'm not doing, that I can improve myself on. Build a rental portfolio for sure, because that's my retirement for me and my family. And then just get the most education experience, and always never forget where like I come from, you know, because sometimes what happens, people get into these positions and then it's like they change, but it's not for the bad or the worse. It's just because you have to change. You have to change, because if you don't do anything, then nothing does change. As it was Jason that said that, right? Where if nothing changes, if nothing changes, kind of deal. So that's what I did. And that's all I would do. First step, work hard. And that's pretty much it. Just work hard. I mean, real estate's the only game that won't lie to you, you know? So your production speak for your results, and your results will let you know how hard you're working. That's all I kind of have for that.
Well, dude, I know, bro, this story in here has so many nuggets for people who are just getting started. I even feel like people who may even have a couple years in the business, or more than a couple years in the business like we all do now. There's so many lessons to pull from what you're saying, dude. And that's the first time for me that I've kind of heard your story all the way through, which is freaking awesome, man. Like, there's so many nuggets in there just to see. Each and every one of us, dude, has our own journey, has our own story. Like, there's a reason why we're all sitting in this room together. There's a reason we're on the journey we are. So, dude, just thank you for coming in and sharing your story, bro.
Of course, man. And I know people that are going to watch this, that know me, personally know me, I hope that the only thing they take from this is that whatever it is that they want to do, it doesn't have to be real estate. It could be anything, that they just do it and figure it out, you know? And if they can't figure it out, at least they have that chance to say that they tried, you know? And that they gave it their all at that moment. And for me, that's enough. And I'd be so damn proud of them. So,
how does a 20-year-old single dad reach out to you?
A 20-year-old single dad reach out to me?
Yeah. How does somebody in your shoes a few years ago reach out to you right now and get questions answered so that they can be sitting on the other side of the table right now?
Oh, man. Right now, see, this is where I'm so horrible. Everyone calls me an old soul because all I do is Facebook. I don't have a Snapchat. I don't have a Twitter. I have an Instagram, but I never get on it. So if you need any guidance or any advice or anything like that, just reach out to me on my Facebook, Angel Bogarin. I have an Instagram, Angel Be Closing, but
Let's go, baby.
but I never get on it, unfortunately. So reach out there, or on our Home Helpers group. I have all my contact information there. If you guys need anything or any journey or any advice on what it is that you're looking to do, just reach out. Everyone knows me as like helping out as much as I can. And if I don't know it and I know somebody else that may know it, then I'll just be like, hey, I'm sorry, I don't really know that answer to that question. But this person has experienced a whole bunch in that area. So you might want to go talk to them. Just pushing you always in the right direction kind of deal.
Bro, thank you for coming on the pod. I don't think I've heard the story like that before. Yeah. You and I have talked before, but it was more generic.
Yeah.
So it's cool to hear the details of it. So thank you. I know people on the other side of the camera are listening and getting value from it. So I appreciate you making it out.
I appreciate both of you guys. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, bro.
All right, guys. We will see you guys next week on the Pursuit of Property podcast.
Thanks, guys.